Hey YouTubers, how you doing? All right. Well, on the top left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of numbers. It's a defect in the camera. Just disregard it. Um, if you like this video, definitely hit the like button because I heard it helps the algorithms. Did I say that right? It's that word and Benjamin Netanyahu. I have a hard time pronouncing that too. Um, and if you want, you can subscribe, and I give weekly current event updates on Bible prophecy. So, friend, we have to have a real heart for the Lord, in our private life, in our public life. Um, but it starts with our private life. Jesus said, clean up the cup on the inside, and the outside will be clean. Um, so, I just want to emphasize that if you are a Christian, do not neglect your soul. You know, uh, a lot of Christians are neglecting their soul. Abide in Jesus Christ. And I explained about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, that if we are abiding in Jesus Christ, everything else spiritually will come into place. Truly abiding in Jesus Christ. Everything, just everything, we'll obey the Lord, we'll do His will. We won't want to let sin reign in our mortal bodies. We'll be walking in the light. Of course, if we sin, we'll want to confess our sins. We'll want to get it right with God. But all right. Unfortunately, some worldly people are predicting a full-fledged war within the next couple of weeks. How that's going to manifest, I don't know, but I can tell you that we're pretty close to World War III, unless I'm missing something. But I've been looking at this for a very long time. All countries are falling apart economically. And the latest is Pakistan. They're falling apart economically too. Well, when this happens, all the countries go to war. That's just the way it is, A lot of earthquakes over 6.0. I think Japan just had a 6.4. There's a guy to the left of me. He's doing construction. He does cut wood with an electric saw, but it seems like he only does this every once in a while, Between him, that phone ringing, and the animal that visits me, that animal, he's not a groundhog, but he's I guess he's some type of it kind of looked like a groundhog, but he wasn't. But he tore two of my shrubs up. Right, I guess he was hungry for lunch. I don't know. He took everything out, the root and everything. Okay. Putin is being pressured every day, friend. I can see it in his face. NATO is trying to give Ukraine as much long-range weapons as possible. It's almost like give them every possible long-range missile weapon possible. I've never seen anything like it. And when this starts getting really out of hand, that's when World War III takes place. Well, I do know that Japan and Taiwan have the PA Poseidons out, and they're looking for submarines. China, it's a China thing. China wants to invade Taiwan. And I said for the longest while, when we see this, you were extremely close to World War III. I heard that there's a lot of buildup Let me wait till this guy's done. Okay. It seems like he just does it every once in a while. There's a lot of buildup on the southern portion of China. Okay. And this says to me that they're going to invade Taiwan pretty soon. Um, well, Benjamin Netanyahu presented a ceasefire deal to his cabinet. Now, remember, a couple days prior to the election, the U.S. election, uh, there was a 5.3. Remember that number, 5.3 earthquake in Greece, which is exactly where Paul wrote Thessalonians. Okay, in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, it says, "When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them." I'm going to list so many different ways. I'm going to talk about so many different ways where there's peace, and then there's going to be destruction. They're saying this peace, but their other words don't match the peace, but it matches 1 Thessalonians 5:3. How much longer can this last? I don't think too much longer. Okay. CGTN Europe. On that, Putin said he was going to war with NATO. Okay, so we're at an advanced step here. It was first Ukraine, now it's NATO. Okay. Okay, 5 NATO planes surrounded Kilograd. This place is between Lithuania and Poland. And I think there's a lot of weapons over there. Russia has been saying for weeks that NATO has declared war with Russia, but now it's official. Okay, it's something took place right around that Kilograd thing where Russia basically said, okay, now it's official. Okay, the economy is so bad. You know, once again, we're talking war. You know, friend, they already made up their minds. Let's see if this is done. If he keeps doing this, I'm going to have to stop. Okay. But they already made up their minds a long time ago for World War III, you know. Because as I look at all the countries around the world, they can't all be this collectively stupid. I mean, I understand there's a lot of evil in their hearts and all that, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about being this collectively stupid. They can't be. And I think November 23rd, Lebanon launched a ton of missiles on Israel. So, you know, all of the submarines are out in the world. I mean, there's so many submarines out there now. And I can only assume that a lot of these weapons are on the live level. When it's on live, that means it's really serious. It's really serious. You know, one of the reasons in America why everybody's in the dark is because the super rich, they want the supplies. You know, they don't want a panic. So from their point of view, I think it's humanly intelligent, but that's the reason. Okay. There's a banking collapse in approximately 10 countries right now. The ruble is collapsing. World War III. U.S. military base is on the outskirts of Syria, and that was hit. Okay. Once again, we see tones of Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1. Damascus being destroyed. You know, that hasn't happened yet, but we're seeing the signs. World War III is only a matter of time before it comes over to all the countries. You know. So on the one hand, We look at Trump, he's picking his cabinet. And on the other hand, I have never seen this man give more World War III speeches, ever, you know. Um, I have never seen Putin give more World War III speeches. They give a lot of World War III speeches. Uh, well, as you know, the northwestern part of the U.S. was hit by a second cyclone, okay? And some of the people in that cyclone, they will not get power for 8 months. 8 months. Well, I know a lot of people, they saw an earthquake in California prior to the Rapture, but the seismology reports are actually confirming what they saw in dreams and visions. So that's interesting. Uh, it could be that right around, I think it was November 23rd, Putin declared war on America and NATO. Um, he doesn't like those long-range missiles in Ukraine. Uh, so Russia sent an ICBM into Ukraine. Um, Now, see, Russia is known as the bear in the Bible. So, you know, I'm asking. I'm going to ask you a question. Would you pick a Would you pick a fight with a bear if you were in the woods? Just asking a question. I think you know where I'm going with this. All right, COP29. Countries agree to a $300 billion a year uh, at the UN summit. And that's what they want to fund for this climate change. You know, I think it's funny because they always clap at their own decisions. I mean, it's kind of silly, but they do. I personally think climate control is the least of our problems. Okay, I think the fourth leader in Iran was sworn in, and I think his dad is in a coma. I don't know if I'll get through this. You know, of all times, they have to do a construction project. I think his dad is in a coma. Okay. Um, the book of Daniel talks about uh, the fourth leader, and he will bring in the rapture and the day of the Lord. You know, so he's here now. He was sworn in. Russia, they recruited Yemen to go into Ukraine. You know, all these countries are taking sides now. Um, a huge oil refinery was hit in Russia. They're very angry with this. A warehouse in Moscow caught on fire. Once again, they're very angry with this. Um, everybody's getting together, okay, and they're taking their sides. Russia vowed to help Iran at all cost, and the Iran troops are heading towards Ukraine, along with Yemen and North Korea. Okay, so this thing's getting really heated up. Um, and like I said, there's been strong hints that China is going to make their move on Taiwan. You know, their dress rehearsals tell the whole story. So um, we see Jeremiah chapter 49 just about to be fulfilled. That's Iran. And we see Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1, just about to be fulfilled. That's Damascus. This is how I know we're very close to the rapture of the church. Uh, so, and there's a fault line all the way from Washington State to Mexico, and it's about to go. It's very weak. So, like I said, there's two extremes for salvation, friend. There's that slapstick salvation, yo ho, yeah, you know, you're saved and all that. You know, oh, when you're saved, don't worry about it. You know, of course, when somebody gets saved, their primary responsibility is to abide in Jesus Christ. Then from there, everything comes together, you know. Um, and then there's the other extreme for salvation, where they make salvation so complicated that I can't even understand it, and most of their facts are incorrect. They're not even biblically correct. You know, God made salvation steady. He made it simple and he made it steady, and he wants us to know where we stand. So if you're an unbeliever out there and you haven't accepted Jesus Christ into your heart as your personal Savior, now's the time to do it, because we don't have much time before Jesus comes in the rapture. At that point, if you haven't done it, it's going to be too late. Okay? And I just fear what might happen to you, you know. Donald Trump is not going to stop this Ukrainian war, because there are countries that have vowed to put extra troops in if Trump does this. So let me see if I can understand this. All kinds of troops are in Russia and Ukraine. So on the one hand, Putin said he is open to peace talks. That's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. But on the other hand, he has vowed that he will never give up. Okay, there's your destruction. 1 Thessalonians 5, 3. Okay. And that was from the times of India. Well, I put the 1 Thessalonians 5, 3 in there. Okay. There's mass unemployment in China, friend. Okay. My goodness, I saw the Dow at one point. It was almost at 45,000 points. Remember, you know, when we had to stay in our homes in 2020, guess what? It was at 20,000. That went up 25,000 points in, what, 3 years? Okay. That's part of the peace and safety. And they want 100,000 peacekeeping troops in Ukraine. Well, peace. There's your peace and safety, 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Then sudden destruction comes. And all these countries, you know, these superpowers, all I hear them doing is bragging about their weapons. And from a human point of view, rightfully so. I think Russia just leveled a building in Kiev, and there was nothing but dust left. There's a lot of technology in these weapons. So I know that some people in the West are saying Putin would lose a war with NATO in 3 days. Well, I don't think they know what they're talking about. But if that happens, it would not be just Russia. It would be World War III. It would be, you know, China, North Korea, Iran. Remember, I'll give you an example with the Iraq War. You know, when Dick Cheney was interviewed, he said, in and out. Yep. In and out. Well, is that what happened? No, that's not what happened. You know. So you'll get a lot of spin doctors on this. So, friend, if you're a Christian, I just would encourage you to do God's will at this point. You know, if we're lukewarm, if you can imagine this, if you can imagine this, self-will is way over to the left. God's will is way over to the right. Okay? If we're right in the middle, we're going to defer more than likely to self-will. And if we do defer to self-will, if we're in self-will, what's that going to breed? Sin. Yeah, we got to be sold out for Jesus Christ. We can't be lukewarm, you know. Yeah, friend, I cannot believe that all these countries would be collectively this stupid if it wasn't planned. I'm very... If you were to ask a construction worker, do you know what a hammer is? Yeah. Do you know what a nail is? Yeah. Well, these people, I don't think they're that stupid. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. So what we need, friend, as Christians is true faith in God, you know. And I know a lot of formulas come out in the Christian faith. But you know what my take on that is? If we had true faith in God, we would not need a formula. We really would not need a formula. Um, it's childlike faith in Jesus Christ, friend. It's you can't replace that. You can't replace that. Yeah, I just want to keep my heart clean at this point, before God through His Son Jesus Christ. Um, but these people, they seem bound and determined to go to World War III. Trump, the Democrats, Russia, China, they all want a new world order. The U.S. has weapons that they won't even give Ukraine. Um, so it's getting serious, and Russia is very versed on weapons. They know, okay? I mean, a pin could drop over there. They know. They're watching. Um, and I got to tell you, friend, the ruble's pretty much done at this point. The Russian people now are going hungry. Putin just set up another draft. He's really offering them incentives, $100,000 to pay off their debt that they can't cover. There's a civil war in Russia. So Ukraine, Iran, and Damascus, it's all a hotbed. And it's all a hotbed, friend. It's all a hotbed. I don't want to keep you too long, but I definitely want to give you the news. I give you a weekly news report. I'm sorry about the Saul, but it seems like this guy's only coming over every once in a while, so I think I can get away with it. Okay. Um, Russia wants to scare everybody, but it's not working. It's really not working. Once again, this is going to lead to World War III. And America has approved a lot of these new missiles. By the way, that's how America makes their money. We don't really make anything over here or manufacture everything over here. That's pretty much done in China. But we have a large stake. The Americans have a large stake in selling weapons. And you're seeing a lot of that in Ukraine. So Israel, they struck by Beirut after Hezbollah fired about 250 rockets into Israel. So friend, just do as much as you can for Jesus Christ, but especially winning souls, especially winning souls. But what I want to explain to you about that is it's not so much what we do, but it's why we do what we do. That's how we're going to be judged by Jesus Christ Himself. But now's the time to win souls and encourage Christians to keep walking with Jesus Christ. Britain wants to send troops to Putin's doorstep. I don't know whether this was a joke or not, but I guess they're taking stupidity pills for breakfast. Friend, first-class morons run this world. The bottom line, Iran's moving a lot of equipment. Why? Well, I think they're ready to go to war. And with this new leader in Iran, he could strike any day. He's worse than his dad. And I heard the French missiles on November 24th killed the European general. It's getting heated up. This thing's going to lead into World War III. And the Bible is not silent about World War III either. And did you hear that right around November 24th, those NATO forces went to Russia's eastern flank. What I'm trying to say is the gloves are off, okay? The Russians have been launching conventional warheads, but now they want to go to a higher level, a higher level. This war has been increasing, just like it was first a war with Russia and Ukraine, and now Russia made the announcement, no, now we're in war with NATO. So you see this going up incrementally. Turkey's saying that Russia's the good guy. Okay, that's Ezekiel 38 and 39. Turkey marches down with Russia in the Battle of Gog and Magog. That hasn't taken place yet. This is why I know the rapture's close. I don't know a day or an hour, but just be ready at any moment, friend. Okay? Yeah, my friend. I just think they made up their mind a long time ago. Um, and those 250 missiles that were fired on Israel, that's unbelievable. That's a lot. That's a big number. That's a really big number. So now Trump is declaring war on everybody before he's even in office. Okay, so they already hate us, and he wants to declare war on them. Not a good idea. Now the U.S. has pretty much paid for all the weapons in Ukraine and Europe. You know, that's the tax dollars. You know, and how anything's left in Syria, I don't really know. It's really bad over there. That's Isaiah 17:1, which hasn't been fulfilled yet technically, but we're very close to that. By the way, at the time of the rapture, Isaiah 17:1 will be fulfilled. It'll be pretty much simultaneously. Um, so the Russian central banks, they have pretty much stopped the petrodollar. Uh, and Russia basically said we might even attack the NATO bases. I want to tell you a story that a couple years ago, the Lord spoke to me about Hal Lindsey. And he said, there's one grandfather left, Hal Lindsey, of the faith. And I said, okay. And I didn't really catch, it's very hard to hear from God, but, he either said, I'm going to keep him alive for the rapture as a witness, or I'm going to take him on home right before the rapture. Well, a couple of days ago, Hal Lindsey died. So, this is something that the Lord personally showed me. I don't know when the rapture is going to take place, but I know we're in that general area. We're very close. So NATO is now saying that Ukraine has lost the war. And some people say Trump is against this war, and some say he's really for the war. Of course, to win an election, he's going to say he's against it. But, I'm not so sure. So, friend, we can't prepare physically for this time period that I'm talking to you about. We can only prepare spiritually. This is why I say if you're not a believer, if you haven't accepted the Lord into your heart, don't jog to Jesus Christ, run to Jesus Christ, because he's the only hope. And I think it's interesting that after the rapture, all these visions, people weren't even allowed to stay in their homes. I mean, that's heavy duty, But that's amazing that NATO is actually admitting that Ukraine has lost the war, And in Ukraine, my goodness, those poor people, there's no water, it's dark, they're hungry. So anyway, back to Trump. He's declared war on Mexico with these tariffs, and I'll tell you what, if that happens, inflation will go way up. It's not a good idea to declare war before you come into office. It's just not a good idea. Now, at the UN, Russia actually said, we warned you, and then they said perhaps a couple other things, But the last things that Russia said was, you made your choice. Okay? See, you see how this is heating up? You see how this is really heating up? Um, so Biden, he just passed, he wants a lot of landmines over there. He wants a lot of long-range missiles over there. Russia says, we want to hit Poland. I mean, people are just going nuts. Um, I hope that the church isn't really buying the lie, you know, of how things are going to get better. Um, and everybody wants to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. I never know how to pronounce that name, but I'm getting better. Britain, Canada, I thought they were allies, you know. Lindsey Graham, he's working on a two-state solution. He's a Republican. Fred, World War III is underway. For the past 4 years, China has been hoarding up all the wheat and all the grain, or a lot of it, Russia and China have a large part of the world's gold. So you can do the math here. You don't do that unless you're going to go to war. So NATO's even broke. America's broke. Everybody's broke. They probably need a war. Russia is broke. China is broke. Ukraine is broke. Thank God the Bible talks about World War III so much. I mean, I think the day of the Lord is mentioned 39 times in the entire Bible. But there are officially 6 European countries that want to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. And Elon Musk, he's just obsessed with implants and AI technology. And somebody even said immortality. The only way you're going to get that is through Jesus Christ himself. Okay, you're not going to get that on your own. And he wants a new world order. And he wants to revive the Roman Empire too. That's the book of Daniel. So the UK said, we are ready to fight Russia tonight. Really? Okay. Well, this isn't some kind of a street fight. I mean, and Russia's really serious about these ICBMs, but it's not just Ukraine that took a beating. I think it was November 22nd that Russia took a beating too. So, and they said on November 23rd that, I think Russia said that World War III officially started, and Britain confirmed it. So they all want war, friend. NATO, Ukraine, Russia, China. I mean, they all at this point want war. It's only getting worse. The war is only getting worse. The world's not getting better. Biden wants Kiev to have long-range missiles deep inside of Russia's borders. Red flag right there. They did use long-range missiles on Russia too. Unfortunately, they did use them. I think the 23rd of November they fired 5 of them. And Ukraine attacked a civilian bus. Oh, not good at all. Not good at all. Now they're going to take it personal. Iran has almost 5,000 missiles. Now, the Iron Dome isn't going to be able to withstand this. God's going to have to step in. That's Psalm 83 and Ezekiel 38 and 39, the Battle of Gog and Magog. So, like I was saying before, there's an invasion force in southern China to invade Taiwan. And they all go at the same time, in my opinion. Iran, Israel, Russia, Israel, China, Taiwan. I mean, it's all going to be done at the same time. Um, so at this point, Russia said they will go to war with NATO and America for participation in the Ukraine war. That was not the case in the past. This war has taken a higher step into a higher level. And the volcanoes are off the charts. It's now at 50 at one time. I mean, it was at 5, at 30, at 45, now it's at 50 at one time. Germany's working on a bunker program for World War III. They even got apps for it. And Putin, he brags that he can send missiles into Europe within minutes. And they probably can. Humanly speaking, they probably can. Half of Donald Trump's cabinet are nationalists, and the other half is the establishment, or the one world order. And some actually made the World Economic Forum on the board. Now, what do they want to do? They want the mark of the beast. They want world population control. They're working hard at this. Satan wants the two biggest nuclear powers to fight the Antichrist. I mean, or actually give them the war. He's just going to step in after the war. That's all he's going to do. All right, and there's a program now, I don't know much about this, where the Jewish people in Israel are saying that they want all Jews to come to Israel. Okay, so with that, friend, before this guy turns this saw on, I'm just going to leave it at that and say it's my pleasure to give you this report, and God bless you, and keep looking up, okay?